All right, let's see if we can fix these stains in this. This is a natural wood that's got a yellowed lacquer on it. We're going to try and polyurethane over this. But I know if I go right over that all these are going to just show up a bit. You know, this heavy grain, it's not going to look very good. So what we do is test it first. Now, as you guys who have mineral spirits, you use that for testing it. And that one doesn't look too bad right there, but it does show up. You use mineral spirits and just wipes the mineral spirits on there so you have a clear. This is something called Prep-All. It's automotive type thing. But the whole idea is to have something that dries slow so you can kind of look at it while it's wet, see if it improved. I mean, so if I just put clear on here right now, you'd still see all this grain. Let's see if we can make that look a little bit better. This doesn't look too bad, really. Let's look at this spot up here. That doesn't look too bad either. Up here, may not hardly even notice that. But we want to put some polyurethane on here because obviously water's getting underneath here. It gets kind of wet. This is on a camper van, but you could use the same technique for cabinets or whatever. So that's why I'm making this video. So I've got here two different gel stains. I've got this golden oak. I'll open them up, and I've got white because I didn't have anything that light. So you can see what they're like here. I'll just use this little acid brush to kind of test this out. And we'll just put a little bit of this on there and see where that doesn't look anything like that, does it? And I'll put a little bit of this on the other side of the brush, which again looks way too dark. But when you kind of mix them together, this dries a little bit darker. Best way to do this is palette this stuff. A little more of the white. Try to get the color to where the color looks the same. I went a little too far. What we're going to try and do, don't want to go darker in the grain, so we want something pretty light. Let's wipe that off and see how that looks. We're going to do like a rag wipe over that. Now that's going to go darker when it dries, remember, so you want to kind of careful not to put too much on. Kind of blend it. I'll try a little bit more. Like if you take it and put it a little bit on a piece of I'll just use this Harbor Freight box. It has a little bit of wax on it, so you just put a little bit on there and then take a little bit of the other and kind of mix it up. Look at the color. Yeah, go a little bit whiter. Maybe that'll work. Try and palette it up to get it close. And then figure out how much to leave on there. That looks a little better. If you use a better brush, obviously you get a little bit better results. Those chip brushes don't really work well with this, so they're too uneven, the coating. And they kind of wipe it off and blend it. That looks a little bit better than we're trying to match the color of the stain, match the color of the wood, okay, with stain. This is gel stain. And then, see if that helps that out. Might help that out a little bit too. And then after I'm all done, then I'll put clear over it and we'll see how it looks. Like I said, the whole idea is to you wipe off what you need. Sometimes you got to wipe off more. You just keep playing with it until it looks right. And you know, and mix up a little bit more of it, and you know, and find the color, like this dark stain there, maybe that'll go away. Just kind of, again, like I said, this darkens up a little bit when it dries, so you got to be aware of that. And the worst thing is, if it's really far off, just take your lacquer thinner or your acetone, try and wipe it off after it's starting to dry. Wait too long, it'll be really hard to get off. But fixing them in a light color, it's easier on a darker color. The lighter colors like this are always harder, but you can see that definitely looks better than up here, right? So that's the whole idea. I mean, there's other ways to do this, is also using wood dye, or not dye, bleach. And sometimes you get better results with it, sometimes not as good. This is kind of the easier way to do it. But you can use wood bleach too, and that'll help really do that. And the gel stains are really cool because you can go over finishes with them. So there's a lot of things you can do with a gel stain you can't do with a regular. Use wiping stain to do this, it's not going to come out right at all. You can't get that white like that to lighten it up. They used to have a color that was really close to this, and I fixed several doors, like natural doors, or if it's yellowed a little bit. Sometimes the problem with this is you get a little bit of, comes out kind of greenish. The golden oak does. So sometimes I'll just kind of leave it like that, or it's really bad. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do this whole panel, and then I'll bring you back in. We'll take a look at it after it's all done, and then basically I'll go through here and do a coat of polyurethane real quick, and then let this dry and see how much better it looks. I'm sure it'll look a lot better than it does now. All right, well, I hope that looks a little bit better for you guys. Yeah, I think it does. I mean, once it's where it's going to be, you'll be looking at it kind of like that, not straight down on it. So it should look great. It looks a lot better than it did. You can again, you could take, if you want to put grain into it, you can use the darker gel stain and wipe it off, and that'll put it into the grain. Let that dry, and then go over it with the lighter one to get grain back. Sometimes you're trying to get grain because it kind of fades out the grain. So there's a lot of different things. You could do that first and then put that over it. Try a few different things with those gel stains, and you can literally brush gel stain on and leave it thick. So if you match the color really good, so you might have to match 2 or 3 different colors in here to try and get all that, then you can get it, you can just leave it on there, and it'll still, like if you get a really bad dark stain, you can leave it on there and let it completely dry, and then when you go over it, all of a sudden you'll see through it a little bit. It's kind of weird how it looked like it's completely covered, but then when you, gel stains are a really great tool, so keep that in mind if you have stains. I mean, obviously there are a little bit better ways by using wood bleach. You could strip this down, use wood bleach, and you might get up with a 2 or 3% better result. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't typically work on birch. It works better on oak. So if you have oak bad stains, you can use wood bleach, and that works really pretty well. That recovers pretty well. Mahogany, birch, mahogany, and oak are pretty restorable, but most of the other kinds of wood, cherry, birch, maple, especially maple, you're gonna have, maple just doesn't come back. Once stain's in it, it's done. You know, you gotta get a new piece of wood. So it's, or resurface it. You know, like this you can't resurface because it's just got a little bit of finish on. You know, a little bit of this is a real thin veneer. But like if it's real solid wood, you can grind off a set of the surface and start over. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys in the next. Please like, share, and subscribe.